Heartbreaking loss for the Jets in week one as they fell to the Steelers 34-32 at MetLife Stadium. So let's break down the high scoring affair and also what looked good and also what looked bad for Gang Green. We're going to do it with the producer of the Maggie and Perloff show. He's also a host for WFAN. It's my guy, EJ Stewart, joining me now. EJ, tough loss for you. I know you bleed the green and white. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, definitely a tough loss for the Jets fans, Jets Nation. But you know what? Offense looked really good. There are definitely some good things to take away from this game. But when you lose to the Steelers and you lose to Aaron Rodgers, it is an absolutely backbreaking way to go 0-1 in week one of the NFL season. So a lot to get to from this game. A lot happened, but a tough way for the Jets to drop this one.
Yeah, it is definitely a tough one there, EJ. You said there's some good things here, and I do agree with you. So then there's some bad things too. We're gonna get to both. Let's
Oh
start.
yeah.
Yeah, so let's start with some of the positives because despite the
Yep.
loss, the Jets they did rack up 394 yards of total offense. So for you, what did you like specifically about how the Jets moved the ball against Pittsburgh in this game?
I mean, Tanner Angstrom, give him a week one game ball, even in a loss, right? I mean, I thought he put together a great game plan. I think the one thing you gotta love initially was just how physical the Jets were at the line of scrimmage. When you knew that Elijah Vera Tucker was going to be out for the season, with the Jets talking so much about how running the football and winning in the trenches was going to be a key part to their success, you wonder if that was going to basically be thrown out of the window once you lose a Pro Bowl caliber guard and Vera Tucker. But sure enough, you move Tittman over, and all of a sudden the offensive line, seamless play. I thought in terms of how they moved the Steelers at the point of attack, and when it came to the running game, the Jets ran all day all over the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I thought in the passing attack as well, they weren't necessarily throwing the ball 50, 60 yards down the field, but Justin Fields had time to throw. And what you like to see from the Jets in terms of their offense was when there were breakdowns on the offensive line, you saw Justin Fields able to extend plays, able to make things happen. And that's just a part of the Jets offense that they've never had. I mean, the Jets have never had a dual threat option. So Tanner Angstrom in the game plan he put together attack a Steelers defense that is coming off one of the worst defensive performances in the history of their franchise, giving up 299 yards to the Ravens on the ground. The Jets looked at that game plan, sauced it up a little bit and put their own spin on it and had a really good day offensively. So I think you got to be happy with the Jets offensive coordinator and his first play calling opportunity with the Jets, really putting together a solid game plan.
No, I would agree. I think you have to be very encouraged if you're a Jets fan by what you saw from them offensively today. And then you mentioned Justin Fields. And
Mm.
I think you have to be impressed with what you saw from his performance today, completing 16 of 22 passes. He threw for a score. He also rushed for two scores in this game. So does his performance, and you talked about the fact that he gives them a dual threat, this franchise that they've never seen before. I agree with you on that. Does his performance give you confidence that he can lead the offense this season and he might be the Jets' answer at quarterback here?
I mean, if you're a Jets fan, you got to feel extremely optimistic about Justin Fields after what you saw from week one. I mean, we got to remember, this is Justin Fields and this Jets offense in its infancy. I mean, this is a brand new scheme, a brand new coordinator, and a brand new quarterback. Everyone's still getting familiar with what the Jets want to do offensively. And we are all the talk during training camp, mini camp about how bad the offense looked, how bad the pass game attack looked. But what matters is what happens in week one, when you're playing against other opponents who don't know what you're trying to do, and other opponents also not knowing what the Jets' game plan is exactly going to be. And I think Justin Fields took advantage of that. He said that coming into this game that the Steelers know less about him than he knows about them in terms of him being familiar with that defense. And I think Justin Fields applying what he knew about that Steelers defense and taking advantage. And how about throwing the ball? I mean, it sounds like a novel concept, right? A quarterback being able to drop back and actually throw the football. But because of all the noise you heard in training camp, there was actually questions if the Jets could actually complete the forward pass. We saw that that's definitely going to be a fixture of this offense. Garrett Wilson looked really good throughout this game, made some big plays. And to me, I think with Justin Fields and what he's doing, as the Jets continue to evolve as an offense over the course of the season, there's a chance they only get better from here. So I think if you're a Jets fan, you got to feel really excited about what you saw from Justin Fields. It's still week one. You don't want to jump out the window and say, okay, the Jets have absolutely found their answer at quarterback. But this notion that the Jets were basically going to be playing at running back at quarterback, and they were basically going to be, the Navy 1945 offense running the football 50, 60 times a game. We know that's not going to be the case, and that's not going to be the case. And Justin Fields and his ability to spread the ball around, I think he showed that he definitely could move this offense in a positive way and give the Jets a chance to win some games this year.
No, EJ, you're right. I think if you let some people tell it, they would have told you the Jets were going to be out here running the wing T in 2025. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? You thought you might have seen some of that, but that wasn't that. The offense looked pretty sharp, but we got to talk about the negatives too here because
Oh, yeah.
the Jets on defense, they could not stop the Steelers offense. And I know this burned for the Jets fans. Aaron Rodgers threw 4 TDs in this contest. What went wrong in your eyes for the Jets defensively today, and what must they clean up going forward?
Well, the secondary is a major concern, and it was probably one of the bigger concerns you had about this Jets team coming into this season, right? You knew Sauce Gardner was coming off a down year, but he's an all-pro caliber player, so you maybe feel good about him having a bounce-back year, and I thought he had a really good week one. The rest of the secondary was an absolute mess, and you lose DJ Reed, you sign Brandon Stevens, and the guy was a disaster. I mean, open field tackling, F. Play ball in the air, type plays, F. I mean, and then for a guy who had trouble in Baltimore, to see him come to a new scheme, we hope that maybe different environment, different coaching staff, he'll take a step up. It seemed like he took steps back from how he played even last season. And one of the plays that I'm going to think about for a long time throughout this week is if he doesn't fall down, which he did so much in this game, if he doesn't fall down, that Aaron Rodgers lollipop to him, that would have been pick six, and then maybe the game is over. I mean, the Jets could have won the game on that play. The Jets were able to get a pass rush. Will McDonald, I thought, was dominant in this game. I thought Quentin Williams had some good moments. But I think the secondary, when Stevens wasn't alone, there were a lot of other issues as well. I didn't think Tony Adams had a good game. They had some problems, but Stevens being CB2, that is going to be something to keep following as the season progresses because this was a bad debut for the Jets' new corner.
Yeah, well, not a good look for him at all, and secondary's got to get better as they move forward. Okay, EJ, we'll wrap with this because next week, Jets, they've got another home game, back-to-back home games to start the season. They're going to host the Bills. How imperative is it that they get a win over the defending AFC East champs in week 2?
I mean, this is basically the season, right? That's one thing about the NFL. As exciting as the season is when it kicks off, once you lose that first game, the amount of teams that make any kind of noise in terms of making the playoffs or winning playoff games, obviously, that those chances just drop like a rock if you go 0-2. So the Jets are not a team necessarily that comes in with playoff aspirations, but this is a franchise that has become all too accustomed to their seasons being essentially over by Halloween. And if they want to avoid that, they have a real tall task coming in with Buffalo being the reigning AFC East champs, one of the best teams in the NFL, and a totally different assignment. And I'm very fascinated about how this game is going to be because when you think about how the Bills are going to attack you, there's a lot more QB run. The Jets were able to take advantage of Aaron Rodgers, as solid as he was in the passing game. He was a bit of a statue. He did take some nasty sacks in this game. Josh Allen's not going to go down nearly as easily. And you could expect the Bills to run the ball way more effectively than the Pittsburgh Steelers. So does that help the secondary in some way that maybe the cornerbacks don't get so exposed? But does that open up maybe other, flaws in the Jet defense that we haven't even realized yet because the Steelers were so content with putting the ball through the air? So I think a very fascinating matchup next week and definitely one that the Jets got to find a way to win. It's at home. It's a division rival. And it's the best team in the division. Tall task, but just got to find a way to get it done.
It's a tall task indeed. We'll see if they're able to get it done in week 2, but the Jets fall to the Steelers in week 1, 34-32. That is EJ Stewart. Check him out producing on the Maggie and Perloff show, producer on that show, and also check him out hosting on WFAN as well. EJ, always good to talk some Jets football with you, my friend. We will talk soon.
Great to hear from you, Dex. See you later.